Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hello world. My name is Uncle Trent. I'm a global creative director of Melbourne. And today I'm going to be doing or showing you guys some cutting tricks and also some styling techniques. And so I think this is a good opportunity, especially for clients. You know, when they come back and see us and stuff like that. You know, someone has like a grown out fringe. And the hair is kind of shaggy, and it's nice for for us to like maybe enhance the shag and then continue that, or cut it off. But in this case, I want to create a little more movement, a little more layers into your hair, so it has a little more textures going on. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'm here, and also Daniel's operating the camera, so he can always answer the questions for me. But yeah, I just want to say, thank you, Hairbrain, for allowing me to share this knowledge with you guys and actually have the live thing to go on with them. So I'm really, really happy. And yes. So without further ado, let's get started with this. Let me see what's her name. Her name is Nadine. And I love these doll heads. They're from Pivot Points, and they have a really good face, and the makeup is very minimal. Very similar to my type of clientele. And yeah, I've actually been liking a lot of fringe bangs a lot lately, so it's really nice to see different ways to cut bangs or fringe. Alrighty, so. If you guys want to see, you guys can come in closer if you guys want, or Daniel, you want to come in closer, you can see. So she has a previous haircut, and the bangs are growing out very long, so I want to take it up a little bit shorter. I want to add a lot more face framing to the front, because I don't know if, I don't know when I'm going to see, clients and stuff like that, so I just want to make sure that the haircut's really precise and very, has a good shape to it. So, all right. How are you guys doing? How's everyone doing? Good? Good. I hope so. Staying sane. Keeping busy with my doll heads. Keeping these hands occupied and keep on, exercising the hands, because, we exercise the body, but it's important to exercise our hands and our mind and stuff like that. Keep us sane. So, alrighty. I'm pretty much going to keep the length of this Nadine, maybe take an inch off because the ends are quite dry. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the bangs, okay, or the fringe. So I'm going to section this off. And then, so I'm going to take about from where her hair starts to go forward. Take that, and then take a diagonal section from the top of the head to right behind the eyebrows. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on this side, like this. I'll turn around, Daniel. Okay. Really nice big windows here, so there's a lot of light that comes in. So it's nice, it's good to see, and to see what I'm doing. Then I'm taking the same section on the other side. I want to make sure that it's even, so I'm going to go in front of her to take a look. Okay, and then we prep the hair with some Melbourne lightweight replenishing mist. And it's really, really nice and light, so it's really good for her hair. It makes her hair really fluffy, it's not too heavy. And then at the end, this goes all over the head, and at the end of the hair shaft, actually medium to mid shaft to ends, I think mid shaft to ends, anti-frizz, just because she does have a little bit of texture to it. So that's it. That's what we mainly use a lot in salon as well. And then we blow dry. Just smooth out the hair. Don't make it too straight, but just smooth it out. I'm just gonna bring this up. It's been going live so often. I'm just like, wow, it is what it is now. And it's actually pretty fun. I have to say, I've gotten a lot more comfortable with it. You know, at first, my social team always like, you should go live more often. You should do this more often. I'm like, ugh. You know, it's just like nerve-wracking. You know, but at the same time, it's like it's actually good right now to go live and see your community, to support your community. You know. All right, so section that off. This is a good section, and you know there are some pieces that are really long, and there are some pieces that are like unkept. So I'm gonna leave those in, and I'm gonna split this like that. Ooh, the ice cream truck is here. Just kidding. And obviously her bangs are so long and kind of like grown out. I want to keep it somewhat long, but I want to really open up the eyes and really give it more like a curtain fringe to it, okay? Or bangs. The English says the fringe, but we Americans say bang. So from the middle, I'm going to keep these a tiny bit heavier. So my elevation is at 45. Okay, and I'm point cutting this because I really want the movement. You know, I want her hair or her bangs to not be so straight and not be so precise. Because when it's too straight and too precise, it'll be too hard for her to blow dry all the time. You know, whereas this one, in fact, if you rough dry and if you put a brush to it, you paddle brush it left and right, it'll just fall nicely. And I'm cutting dry because when you cut dry, you can see how it lays already without, you know, doing a whole guessing game when it's wet and then blow dry and then, you know, cut again dry. So therefore, you cut out the wet blow drying part. It just takes too long. All right, and I'm just gonna. So you see my elevations a little on the lower side, just because I really want these to be on a little heavier. Okay. And then
we have a question.
Oh.
Is that top corner the second high point?
The second high point? Not necessarily. As you can see from profile, this is the high point. This, I guess so. This is the curve. You know, I do this because I really don't. I want some movement. So these guys, I wanted to give it a little more layers. So this is a little more of like my baseline, and this will be my layer, if you can think about that. So therefore it moves, you know? And I feel like when you do cut bangs or fringe like that, it's a little more forgiving, you know? It's not too together. Because if I were to cut these two together, then it's just all the same length. It's really heavy, it doesn't have to move it. Whereas this, I cut this first, and then I go ahead and layer this. It falls, it gives it a lot of different length. So, and then also when it does grow out, like I have clients that comes in that I haven't seen them for like a month and a half. You can push it they can push it to the side, you know. It's not so much of like, oh, I need my bangs trimmed, I really, you know, it's in my eyes. They can push it to the side or part to one side and it becomes like sweeping bangs. So I'm just concerned about the grow out, you know, especially, and I don't want a lot of my clients like, show me how to cut my bangs. I'm like, no. A lot of them, I don't want them to cut their bangs because I've seen what they can do, and you know, I'd rather have it long and shaggy, and then we can come in and cut it shorter. But for them, if it's too short, I'm like, yeah, how about extension piece right here? You think that'd be better? And they're like, no. Then, you know, it discourages them. All right, I want to lower this a little bit low so I can reach. There you go. So with this angle right here, I'm just going to elevate it up. Or maybe like this. Oh shit. There you go. Okay. So the reason why I'm elevating up because I really want this part to be soft. and have separate movement from the bottom, okay? And I'm just cutting it straight across or square with point cutting, okay? And the length all depends. I mean, I'm totally making this up. Obviously, you don't want to go too short. If you want to go this short with it, that means it sits here, it's going to poke out. So a lot of times, I just measure from here to here. That's the curve of the bangs, and that's where I want it to be. So yeah, there you have it. I mean, then if there's some longer pieces here, go back in, come down to natural fall, and then just point cut that in. Point cut the line in. So clients are like, yeah, can you show me how to do this? I'm like, yeah, I don't think that will be helpful, you know, so. So just get rid of the length a little bit. Yeah, who knows? When this is all over, everyone's gonna have bangs because they try to cut it themselves and stuff like that, so. Yeah, so I don't mind these little pieces here and there just because I really like the fact that she can just like, you know, play around with it and then push it to the side, you know. And when you have those longer pieces, it actually gives it more of a bend, you know, because when it's all one length, it just sits really heavy. So whereas this one, it's a lot more playful and there's a lot more texture going in, okay? And it's a little more forgiving. All right, so now I'm gonna incorporate the bangs into the face framing. There you go. Look, she kind of looks like, do you guys, I don't know, you guys remember Michelle Pfeiffer? What is that movie when she has the bangs in the bottom? Oh, Daniel is really young, so he's looking at me like,
I love that movie. Oh my god, what is it?
It's I think it's Godfather. She's Michelle Pfeiffer. She plays a gangster wife or something like that. Anyways.
Scarface.
Scarface! Okay, I was close. There you go. Oh, such a good movie. Such a good movie. I watch a lot of movies, a lot of TV shows for, you know, especially period stuff. I love a lot of that stuff because it's like, you know, good hair reference from the 70s, 80s, and all that stuff. So it's really, really fun. So, face framing. So I'm going to take it from the top of the head, which is here. And then I'm basically taking a vertical section all the way to the front of the ear. Just going to separate that cleaner so you guys can see. My section is going to be pretty much, you know, it doesn't have to be like back here. It's just going to be, you know, you can maybe set it on top. Maybe where the bangs start, that's where my section is going to be of the face framing.
Would you do this cut on wet hair, or is this ideal for dry cutting only?
You can do this on wet hair. The only thing is, like, I don't do a lot of wet cutting just because I just feel like it takes more time, you know, because you cut this wet, you blow dry it, then you have to, like, you know, customize it. So whereas this is like you cutting it and you customize it at the same time, so it helps to cut down the timing. Just make sure that you do see your clients beforehand. Like if they have calyx in the front, or they have calyx on the side, they have calyx on the top, or calyx on the bottom. Those are important things that you see, especially when you do consultation, and also you know what they do with their hair, how often do they blow dry, how often do they shampoo, all that stuff is so important. But when you do ask them, you need to know those things. So, but I would have to say I cut about maybe 95% of my haircuts, maybe 98, 95, you know, dry, unless she wants a pixie, then I'll cut it wet in the bottom and then I'll let the top dry and I'll just blow dry the top. So it all depends. And if she has really curly hair, then I cut it wet first just for the baseline and then dry on top for layers and reshaping. But yeah, I love cutting dry because I can see it. It's like an instant gratification. Maybe I'm a little impatient or the fact that I just want to see what I'm doing. All right, so I'm gonna incorporate these guys into the rest of her. She has some array, but you know, now there's a disconnection from the bangs to the face frame. So I'm gonna take basically this part with transition, bring this out, point cut this to blend. Okay, like so. And then from that point, I'm just gonna take the rest of the hair, the rest of the face framing, and then I'm gonna slide cut. Maybe this is better this way. There you go. Always trying to find the best position so you guys can see. Bring this out slightly 45. Remember to open and close, open and close, open and close. Elevate this out 45 and continue all the way down. Okay? And you know, if you don't want this to be that strong, you can always go back in to point cut it. So therefore it becomes a little more feathered. Okay? Even the face framing right here too. I'm just gonna bring that slightly. Don't over-direct it too much to this because when you bring this back, it's gonna hit really choppy. I want it more natural fall, so I'm gonna bring this slightly 45.
If a client had less hair than the mannequin in front of the ear, would you take that parting further back or keep it in the same place?
So whatever you want the baseline, or not the baseline, the corner to be. So the reason why I brought it here, because I want this corner to be here. If I want the corner to be back here, then I'll bring that back there. So it kind of really doesn't matter how much hair she has, you know, but if she doesn't have that much hair, then I wouldn't texturize as much. I'll keep it a little more blunt, okay? And these little guys, I can just freehand because at this point, the more you elevate it, the more you hold it, it just messes up with the natural fall. So I do a lot of stuff on natural fall because I really want her to be able to like wash and go. Because the minute you do a lot of over direction, a lot of like, you know, layering the hair in different ways, it's just harder for the clients to wash and go. So if you keep it more natural fall, they can have wash and go hair easily. Okay, so this side is done. I don't want it to connect completely, but I just want to make sure that these little stragglers are gone. Sorry, boo. Ooh. Yeah, don't stab her eyes. You know, usually when you're doing this coast, just make sure that you hold the hair really slightly. Okay, and a lot of times I do put fingers in the bottom here, so if I'm drinking too much coffee, I won't be too shaky. Clients don't want to see those things shake too much because it's kind of scary. All right, so let's do the same on this side. So that one's pretty much done. So let's say if she does brush it out, see it opens up her eyes. It frames it nicely without having it to abruptly. Yeah, abruptly.
We have 2 questions regarding shears.
Yeah.
First one is, do you use the same shears as you do on mannequin hair and clients? And what are your shears?
I do use the same because this is real hair, you know? It's not fake hair. You know, this is also maybe a good test to my scissors. These actually are my own scissor line, and they're being made in Japan, and from I would say a city where samurai swords used to be made at. And then I think they still made samurai swords there, but not as much where, you know, back in the days when they used that for weapons. Yeah, it's from the factory there, and they make amazing, amazing scissors that they've been doing it for 200 years. And so I've been searching for my own for quite some time. So it took me about like almost 2 years to get these prototype done. So I've been using it for like a year and a half already, and I've been doing a lot of mannequins, and it still cuts my finger really well. So I'm very happy about it. So these are my own. Hopefully it'll come out the fall. Yes, hopefully. We'll keep you guys updated. All right. So bring this out slightly 45. Point cut that to blend. Okay, and then once you get to a certain length, then you can there you go. I'll do this so it'll be easier. Open and close, open and close, open and close. Make sure you when you do slide cut, you open and close because I don't want to rough up the cuticle. I don't ever want to rough up the cuticle, you know, because they can come back with a lot of split ends, you know. So unless, you know, I really want the texture to be a little bit more pronounced, then I'd rather go in and point cut it than to rough up the cuticle like that, because that creates a lot more split ends. Okay, and now I'm just point cutting it so it will become softer, because she does have a lot of hair towards the front. You know, I actually do have some clients like that who have a lot of hair in the front. I'm like, how? You know, most people don't have a lot of hair in the front, you know, but you know, sometimes you find people who have a lot of hair in the front. And so I just point cut, and then towards the ends here, I just, you know, just freehand it.
How long are those shears?
These shears are 6.5.
And
so I guess they measure from here to here. The blade itself is, I think, 4.5. And you can travel with this domestically. So we never pack this in because I cannot lose my scissors, you know, when we used to travel a lot. And you can bring this on the plane. I bring it as a carry-on. The TSA allows it. I hope they still allow it. But internationally, you have to pack this in. So, right. Sure, she's her head is right. Oh, you have all these stragglers, girl. All right. All right. Just want to make sure this is even. All right. If it's not, I'm just gonna go back in. Just make it even. Yeah. When the scissors come out, I'm gonna do a whole. There's like a little story behind it. The process of me going to Japan and trying to find a factory and stuff like that. So it's a really, really cool short story, and it's like a mini documentary. Really enjoyed it. It was really fun. Cool. Alrighty. So now I'm gonna move into layers, and then I'm gonna worry about the baseline of it later because I want to keep her hair the length. So right now, she doesn't have that much. Her layers are pretty long and kind of, you know, kind of heavy. It doesn't have a lot of movement. I'm just gonna go back in and just reshape it. Okay, I'm taking pivot sections from here, and then it's gonna be slice, slice, slice into the behind the ear, and everything is gonna be diagonal. back. So it goes along with the face frame. Okay? Lower this a little bit. So I'm gonna go in concave layers just because I really want these layers to sit. I said something else, but to sit a little more a little more body to the back part because yeah, I'm doing a shag on her, and it's more of a modern shag because I really don't want this to be too much disconnected, but at the same time, I really want this to have a lot more body towards the back part right here. Okay, and elevating this up, I'm working my way up to the top. So my angle is not so steep because she doesn't have that much long hair, but it's more like that kind of angle. So it's like a 45. And then whatever doesn't reach, doesn't reach. Just want to make sure that I get that angle, okay? And I'm point cutting it because I really want it to be soft. I don't want it to be too blunt. I think when it's blunt, that's when it gets a little bit dated. Because back in the days, they will cut this blunt, and what happened is that it becomes really bubbly, you know? But if you want to make it modern, texturize it to give it movement, you know? You can still have that similar aesthetic of like a shag, but if you keep it modern by point cutting it, it makes it more, I guess, you know, relevant, and because you can style it different ways. Okay. And I'm gonna do new wave on her because I really, gosh, been loving that so much because I feel like I'm a little over the the lived-in way just because we've been doing it for quite some time. You know, it's like the beach way it's gonna do, but let's do the new wave so it has a little more. It's a little more modern. Okay, so I'm barely just cutting the top part just because sometimes all you need is just a reshaping on top, you know, and therefore it helps to bring out everything, reshape everything. Okay, same way. Can you guys see okay? Yeah, good, good, good. It's been a while since I've been on Facebook Live. It's always IG Live. I was going through my Facebook photos yesterday. I'm like, whoa! There's a lot of interesting. I'm like, oh my god, I remember this, I remember that. Yeah. So, again, elevating this up, just very quick and easy. And that's another reason why I like to cut dry because it's so simple, you know? You can see what you're doing, there's no guessing game. Don't like guessing, you know? I'm not a mind reader. A lot of times, you know, we have to read between the lines, especially with clients, and I don't want to do it with haircut. I want to make sure that I nail this, that I'm doing, you know, what I want to do and what I promise to do. Sorry, Nadine. Sometimes you just gotta secure that. So when you're confident in what you do, and especially when you deliver what you say, you know, you maintain the clients. So especially here, you can see that a lot more, just because. There you go. You bring up a little more body to the front pieces. So since she has quite a bit of hair in front, I want to take another diagonal section just to make sure that I am not missing anything, and that I want to create that movement. Yeah, so I think this is good. And the reason why I'm taking diagonal back towards the front is because it coincides with the face frame. So if I face frame is like this, so this is diagonal back section, okay? Back here because I really want to create body, so that's why I'm doing pivoting sections, you know, because when you pivot, it creates roundness. If you do vertical, it kind of becomes more flat, okay? So roundness here because I want the body, And here, I want to connect the back to the front.
Here's a personal question for you.
Uh-oh.
How have you changed as an artist in the last couple years?
Wow, that's a really great question. And it's a long answer. How would I change? How have I changed?
Yes.
Right? I think one, for sure, that it's so weird that I honestly feel like I don't know much anymore. Not because of this, quarantine, but I feel like the older I get, the more experience I get, I just feel like I've become a lot more of a sucker for knowledge, and a lot more curious about things, and not so much of like, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to do this, but I don't remember what I do. I just want to learn more. I just want to be curious about other things, that maybe has nothing to do with hair, or have something to do with hair but on a different realm, maybe more of like business, or more of like ways to communicate, like psychological things, or maybe taking psychology classes and stuff like that online, so I can understand my communication, be better at communicating, like stuff like that. It's just have a lot more curiosity than not just about the hair itself. It's about everything, because I really feel like clients comes in, yes, they want a good haircut, they want a good style, they want a good experience and everything, but it's also the personality. It's the whole thing. It's the whole package. Okay. So that's what I've been doing. That's why I have a lot of curiosity when it comes to documentary and stuff like that, because I want to learn. I want to learn about the world, because the world affects everything, and it affects our creative flow, and it creates, affects who we are, and a lot of fashion and a lot of like hair. It's a lot of it based on economy stuff. So you see these little. It's very hard to see sometimes when you don't get the sunlight. Sometimes you get a little bit of, they say, clients that comes in, they're like, they haven't had a haircut in a while, and the ends are like kind of dry and kind of like maybe split in. So if I'm not going to touch any layers that sits in the bottom here, I want to make sure that I go and at least take care of it. So I go in and dust it by just skimming the very top and just get rid of that. Okay? Because I have not touched this part yet, and I don't want this part to be too thin, because I don't want it to be like a full-on shag, because I do have a clientele of like the professional woman, yes, some of them are artists and some are not. A really wide range of like clients, from Middle East to like Asians to Hispanics to Caucasian, everyone, So I just want to make sure that and also different kind of like businesswomen, lawyers, and influencer bloggers, and all that stuff, and actresses and everyone. So old and young too, which I love, because I love it when you have a broad clientele. That means that your brand or whatever you do speaks to a large audience, not just one audience. And I think as a brand, I want to, expand, is that I want to become all across boards, be really versatile. Versatile to like someone who's older, someone who's younger, someone who's skinny, someone who's like plus size. Like, I want that. I really want that, and all different types of texture and age and race and stuff like that. So, all right. So I'm gonna clean up the bottom really quick. Nothing major, because I really want to keep the length. These doll heads is like They're wonderful and I love them, but I don't want to cut them too short because I'm going to do a lot more haircuts to it. You know? And one thing I really like about Period Point is that they make their doll heads ethically. So they're very conscious about, you know, the environment, and you should read the whole thing about, they have that on their website, but it's really, really cool. I like that. It's important to me. So just pretend there's a shoulder in her back. So I'm just spraying everything back to square. Square in the back.
If the client has dry or damaged hair, would you go in with the wet cut instead?
No. If the person have dry or damaged hair, I would want to blow dry it so I can see the damage and dryness. Because if I were to cut it wet, I can't tell where the dryness and damage ends starts, you know? So if you blow dry, you can see it a lot more. And you can actually, you know, it comes out more. So therefore you're like, hey, Sally, you need actually 3 inches off instead of 1 inch, you know? You know, suggest that to them, like, you know, you see these ends, you know, blah, blah, and there's no guessing game in that sense of like, okay, you know, Sally, you need 3 inches off, and it's like, okay, cool. And she can see it, you can show it to her. So that's why. I just feel like when it's dry and when it's damaged, it's better to cut dry. You can see it more. Alright, I'm just gonna scoot this away and make sure that this is good. Alright. I think we're done with the cutting. I don't want anything major. Just basically reshaping what shag she has. Nadine looks good with the bangs, right? She's a bang kind of girl. There we go. She gets a little, right here, she gets a little stragglers. So, sometimes it's hard to see when you cut dry. So a lot of times I do this. I tend to do this so you can see the shape of it all, okay? And when you shake it out like this, you can see where the point cut sits in. So the difference between point cuts is that it goes in and it creates a lot of, what's that word? Sporadic, not sporadic, but like a lot of dips and valleys. So you can see how it just sits in really softly. Now, if I were to blank cut this, you won't get to see that. You won't get to see, it just becomes really heavy because when you blank cut, everything stack up on each other. Whereas this, when you point cut, everything just kind of, you know, lay on top of each other and it becomes very swingy. So, yeah, just like that. So that's why I deep point cut a lot, just because I want to create this movement. And also, when she wears it herself, and let's say that it dries up, actually, her hair dries up really well. I love the way it dries up. It dries up like a wave. So she can just put some products in and just scrunch it, and it becomes very textured and kind of lived in look, you know? So that's why I point cut a lot. And I hardly ever use thinning scissors unless it's really big and thick and bulky. So, all right.
What are your thoughts on point cutting naturally curly hair?
Depending on how curly it is. If it's like ringlet curls, not really. Ringlet curls, I tend to do this. I tend to twist it a little bit and then back cut it a little bit. But not to the point where back cut, and then when you do back cut, you want to make sure that you open and close. And then you only cut from this part, okay? So it's more like this. So I open and close, move it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Okay, so when you do there's all these different lengths to it, you know. I don't really point cut that much because sometimes it's not about the ends being point cut, it's about the internal. Because when it's curly, it's just like really curly in the middle, and then not as, and it gets really bulky. So in order to release the movement and the weight, you go in and basically back cut in here, so it creates shorter hair, longer hair, shorter hair, so it brings out a lot more pieciness to it. Yeah? Cool. Let's style. So I'm gonna start with the front. I always start in the front just because clients will be like looking at it and stuff like that, and they just want to see it. And I feel like when they do see it, they're like, they feel like they can breathe. Okay. And also, when you tell your clients like, hey, when you do your hair at home, do the front first, because by the time you get to the back, you might be tired and you know it won't be as good, but at least the front will be good. So I start about maybe like an inch from the hairline, about, you know, depending on how much hair that person has. Okay, and then pin this away. And sometimes I don't even do like a straight line. It all depends on like what kind of texture, what kind of waves I'm doing. So I don't, it doesn't have to be super clean section, you know. I feel like the more uneven and a little more messy, it looks a little more natural. I'm gonna be using a flat iron, and this is my new baby from Dyson. It's the Corel. It's freaking awesome. And it has 3 different types of setting, temperature-wise. So I'm going to be using, for Nadine has a bit of a texture, so I'm going to be using 410. Always recommend my clients to use like 330, you know. And then for, you know, fine, this is for fine hair, medium hair, and thick hair, okay? And I like the fact it's cordless, so it's really, really dope. And it takes a second to heat up. Another important thing is like, you see this symbol right here? This is for flying. So since this is lithium battery, you know, TSA was like, you have a lithium battery, you have like, you know, battery packs and stuff like that. This does. So it has that little thing right there where you can just open it up, and then when you detach it, I'll show you later because it's just heat up, that you can travel with it and it'll be fine. Okay, so this is heat up. I like the fact it's cordless. Yay, no more cords. We have so much cords as it is, you know? So this technique is, I'm gonna undulate back and forth, back and forth. I'm actually gonna be here so you guys can see better, okay? So take that. Yeah, I'm gonna go, bend up, down, up, down, and if I want a little more of a bend, I can go back in and just create a little more bend. I don't want it to be too curly, just want it to be slightly wave, you know, just because I want this to be modern. I don't want it to be too done. Okay, so undulate like that. Okay, so do the same. It's really easy for us to do, also really easy for clients to do. And also you can use the Marcel in this, which is really great. And I usually do Marcel in it, but I love this. I feel like this is more relatable for clients these days, especially when they're home. They know how to do this, you know? And it's just a matter of practice. I think the difference between this flat iron and the regular one is that I don't have to use that much tension, because the plates that's on here, it's flexible, and the reason why it's called Corel, because these are flexible plates, so it moves. So instead of like being straight, when you do flat iron, it pushes all the hair out. This will cuddle the hair in. Like so. And it lasts like 30 minutes per charge. And if you run out of battery, you can always plug it in. It comes with a a wire that you can plug it in. It also comes with a stand. I'll show you in a bit. So anytime when I'm not using it, I'm always putting up the stand so it can charge. Okay, I'm just gonna lower this a little bit more so you guys can see. So this would take me about, I would say, to finish the whole head about like maybe 15 minutes if I'm not talking too much, but I do talk a lot. I'm a talker, I like to talk. Especially to clients, especially now when it comes to like the styling aspect. The cutting maybe not so much just because I want the head to sit still. Because a lot of times clients talk to you, they just turn to you and like, I almost jabbed you in your eyes, just stay still. Now here, if they were to move, I'll be like, okay, fine, you'll be fine. Okay, just like so. And then, same all the way through. Once you get a rhythm of it, it's really easy. And then, especially the bang part, you want to incorporate that. And this is always tends to be like the harder part because see, if you were to do this, you get these guys, you don't want that. So you want to make sure that you pick up these pieces towards the ends right here and push it away from the face, like so, okay? So sometimes this part gets a little tricky just because a lot of times clients don't know where to start and ends with the waving part. And then these guys right here, sometimes I just pick it up and just kick it off a little bit, just about there. Cool.
Do you find when using the cord, does it fall off easily?
If you don't put it in right, it just depends. Like if it moves around too much or you're jerking around too much, yeah, it could happen. Because it's magnet. But it just all depends. Like a lot of times when I hardly ever use it with the cord. So I always try to make that be very efficient with the time that I use this, and if I do have to use the cord, it's just gonna be the very end of it all. And I don't move around a lot with it. Not jerking it up too much, This side of her head, she has a little bit less hair than the other side, which is good. It's very normal, I think. Everyone always have a little bit more hair on one side versus the other side. No, seriously, I've been loving this move so much because it's like so fun. Was it fun using it, Daniel?
Yes.
I love it. I really, really love it. And I'm glad it comes in black. It's chic, So same, and then right here where the bangs begin, tap it a little bit to the side, just make sure that it just blends to the rest of the hair. Okay, and then I'm almost finished with the front. And then this one piece. The reason why I'm going, my first initial motion is to get more lift. So that's why I'm going up instead of down. And I do the opposite when it comes to Marcel because I can't get that bend on a Marcel going up because it will create a mark, whereas this is like it won't create a bend. Cool. Yeah, honestly, I've just been doing this a lot. And then I tell clients to do this and they love it. Because to them it's hard. It's easier to do this than the live-in waves on themselves. Because sometimes you burn your neck. And I burned my neck as well. So I totally understand. So now I'm gonna move on to the back. And Nadine here has a lot of hair to back here. Okay, just the same back here. Again, I wouldn't worry too much about like if it looks too uniform, it won't look too uniform because you're moving up the head, you know, so one can sit on top of each other and it just looks like it undulates over the other part. Okay. Same one here. Make sure that you brush it out with your hands. You don't have to brush it out with your brush, but just with your hands a little bit. And a full charge of this will be 70 minutes, you know. But if you leave it on the deck and you're not using it, it's fine. It's charged up really quickly. Okay, taking another section, right? Like so. And again, just the same motion. So flip this out, the bottom right here, so it gives it a little more of a kick. So I'm at that battery right now, and you know, I still have like I'm pretty much done with the head, so I have a lot of batteries left. I wish everything's cordless. One day. So same like this, through, okay. And then make sure that you're not picking up the hair from the front. Just make sure that you do grab the hair that's not being curled or waved. Okay, and we do have a heat protection in her hair. So that anti-frizz humidity blocker has heat protection. It has argan oil in it. And so does the weightless mist, replenishing mist. How you doing, Daniel? You good? You good?
Good.
So hard, huh, to hold the phone. Hard work. Yay! So, just repeating this. I want to go on a drive. I can't wait to go on a drive. Honestly have not left my house. What is this? I think I counted this morning. I think it's day 44 for me. And that is a record. I have not stayed home for that long. 44. That's like how old I am. Just
44
kidding,
days.
45. Who's counting these days? All right, once I get to the top, I have 2 sections left. Pretty easy. And I can go as fast with the Marcel as well, and I love the Marcel. Just a different texture. So the difference between the flat iron New Wave and the Marcel New Wave is that the flat iron New Wave has a lot more polish because it's you know, it's 2 plates into one, and it's like smoothing down the cuticle. That's the difference. Whereas the other one, it creates a lot more texture, you know. So that's where it depends on what look I'm going for, you know. I can use one or the other, but I just got this baby, so I've just been obsessed with it. All right, last but not least. So she has a cowlick right here, so I don't want to separate that too much. I want to combine it. So if I don't combine it, she's gonna have split like this. So I'm gonna bring some of the hair from the other side over and kind of like married it into each other. Married. There you go. So it looks more like that. Okay. So little tricks once you get to the top, and also you can tell your clients as well. Right. Under. Yeah. Love these little short pieces. Cool. So just want to make sure about the front before I put it away. Bring her up. There you go, Nadine. Nadine doesn't smile. She just has a stoic face look on her. Just want to create a little more body right here. Oh yeah, let me just fix this piece right here. It's a little too bumpy. Alright. Cool. And then do the same on this side. Flip this out. I think I got the 8 from my friend. You know who, right?
Matthew.
Matthew. He always say 8. I'm like 8. You. Finishing touches. I can be really OCD about these finishing touches because so make sure they're good. Alright, and just gonna blend this guy in a little more. Just there for just 3. Cool. Maybe flip this out a little more. Give it a little bit of kick in certain places, just for it won't blend in too much. You know. Same this side. All right. I'm just giving some final touches to little details. I love detailing. I would say one thing, if I were to become, if I ever do like construction, I think one thing that's very important, a lot of companies don't do, is like they finish the job, but they don't have a person who comes in and detail, and look at the detail. Because I've been on a few construction jobs of like my house and stuff like that, and the salon is that I wish there's a person that from that company or someone who will go in and do a final look, a final detail look, you know? And sometimes they do, but they just pass by so quickly, you know? Like these floorboards and stuff like that. It's very fun. Anyways, so yeah, I want to show you guys this part. Now I can unplug it. So you turn that off. See, I'm halfway through. Turn that off, and then this is how you do it. You just, it's really hot, so I just want to make sure I'm not touching. There you go. It comes out like this, and you shut it, and that disconnects the battery. Okay, and then you can travel like that. Cool. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was very thoughtful. All right, glad we let that cool a little bit. Now, oh, so many choices to play with. All right. Gosh, these are always my all-time favorite go-to picks. So this is a dry texture spray from Melbourne, and this is a wave-defying cream from Melbourne. So this adds texture and body. This creates a little bit of polish on the ends. It's very, very light because I wanted to keep it airy and light. I don't want it to be heavy. Okay, spray this in first, shake it up really well. It's a texture spray, dry texture spray, but it's almost like it has dry shampoo in it too, so it's very light. All right, you shake her out. All right. Okay, and sometimes I pinch and spray, pinch and spray, pinch and spray, pinch and spray. And then lift and spray. Pinch, spray just for a little more bite. Yeah. So you can tell it's inspired from the 70s, but it's not the same because it has a lot more texture to it. You know, a lot more movement to it. And then last but not least, Wave Defying Cream. So to get more, if you want to get more information about the Melbourne products, go to infousa@melbourne.com. Okay. Oh, I use about, I say like a dime size or pea size. Okay. And when you do, put it all over your hands, so you don't see any products. And just soften up the overall look. So for those of you guys didn't get that, we can pin that, the information about Melbourne, how to get that. Okay, let me see what she looks like. It's hard to work not in front of mirrors, so I'm playing a guessing game. Unless Daniel was making some faces, he's like, okay. Other than that, I'm just like, okay, cool. Yay! I actually do love the feather bangs. I like it when the bangs are kind of feather. I think that was really cool. Guess I've been watching. Oh yeah, just add a little bit more, just for separation. Watching a lot of like old music videos from like the 70s on YouTube. So good, especially Rod Stewart and Hart. So cool. All right, we're about to finish this. Hey Nadine. All right, sometimes I mess up the top too much, but I don't mind that. I think it has that really undone, lived-in hair look. So, okay, and I'm not taking the ends too thin, as you can see from the front piece. It's not too transparent, but it has some texture and movement in there. Okay, this is the final look. Nadine, been a really good model. Thanks, girl. So I'll show you the sides. Okay, back, and then the other side. She's happy. She says she's happy. I'm not talking to doll heads, promise. But there you have it. And gosh, you guys have any other questions? That's it? That's all the questions? Thank you. Well, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. And it's been a pleasure. And I really enjoy, sharing, and especially with our community right now, just because I feel like we get so, there's only so much movies and TV shows that we can do. So it's good to share some knowledge with you guys, and I really, really appreciate it that you that Hairbrain allows me to do this. So, and I want to say thank you to Melbourne and Dyson and Pivot Point, and We're just gonna say thank you. Signing out, guys. Peace and love. Be kind to each other.